Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. It's time to do another Transformers review. And this time we're taking a look at the Generation Selects of another historic character. We're taking a look at Exhaust. Now Exhaust here is based on an original Diaclone toy from the 1970s. Back when they released the toy that would become Wheeljack here in America, Takara released that toy twice under their Car Robots line with two different paint markings on it. The one that would eventually become Wheeljack had markings for an Italian airline company, whereas there was a second version of the car that was released that was done under Marlboro cigarettes. Naturally, Hasbro did not bring that version over so as to not promote smoking amongst us young people. So that one has kind of been relegated to the annals of history until one of the recent Masterpiece Transformers actually brought this character into canon. And so, for those of us who can't afford the Masterpiece version, well, we have this one from the Generation Selects line. And all it is basically a retool and repaint of the Earthrise Wheeljack. So it's kind of fitting that we get that. Of course, like we said, it's a retooling due to the fact that there is a different head on the toy to make him look a little more sinister and nasty. And of course, when it comes to loose parts on this figure, he has the same as Wheeljack, just the single little missile launcher. But this time it's in two colors, a black launcher with a white missile instead of the solid gray that Wheeljack's is. Let me borrow Wheeljack's here. Let's see, this is Wheeljack's, and this one is Exhaust's. And of course, they can be mounted onto the holes here, onto his shoulders, to recreate the Generation 1 look. Of course, if you happen to have both figures, you can borrow the guns from one or the other and complete the look of him having dual launchers. Which, it isn't too bad, but I don't like the posts that stick out on there. I mean, the mismatched colors I can understand. I could always claim that one's firing a different projectile. But at any rate, that at least shows you the loose parts if you're looking for one on the secondary market. Let's take a look at Exhaust and his articulation. It will be the same as what it is on Earthrise Wheeljack, in the fact that we can turn his head from side to side, and it will rock up and down on a slight ball joint. The arm can be raised out about so far. It does rotate all the way at the shoulder, but you will have to shift it a bit to clear the fins on the back. The arms do bend at the elbow, 90 degrees. Unfortunately, the way he's designed, he does not really he does have a swivel at the bicep. He also does have articulation at the wrist, so you can rotate his arm at the wrist all the way around. He is set up with a twistable hip, so you can do the twist. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. You can raise his leg at the hip 90 degrees, and he can bend at the knee 90 degrees. So Exhaust does have quite a range of motion going for him. Now, of course, to transform exhaust into his car mode, it's the exact same as what you would do for Earthrise Wheeljack. You would turn him around and you will rotate the fins so that they form a spoiler. You'll raise his arms out to the side. Then you will rotate the forearms so that the wheels will point straight up. And then you're going to rotate the hands so that their side panel appears next to the tire. Just exactly like that. Next, we're going to pop the chest panel, fold it all the way down, and then you will fold his head inside the cavity. And then we're going to twist him here at the hips. You will have to hold the windshield down so it will stay down and not jam the mechanism. Then down here, you will fold down the feet to form the front end of the car. Then you're going to pull them out at the knee. At least pull them out. You got to pull them out halfway at least. Then you're going to fold up these little trans black pieces so that they form the front of the windscreen. And then you will finally fold the legs totally under. The windscreen should fit in the notches, in these half-circle notches. Press the legs together and attach them to the windscreen. And once you've done that, we'll come back here. You'll fold the arms at the shoulder up here onto the top and connect them to the holes where you would attach the missile launcher. And then you'll fold the arms in to the side and snap them in place. And then there you have it. Exhaust transforms into a racing car. Now, of course, he doesn't have as many stickers on him for sponsors. It looks like here he's got a 7 with a bunch of symbols near it. Could it be that he's actually working for Section 7? Got a royal crown here. I don't know if that's meant to be RC Cola. Then there's, of course, some Japanese text next to it. And he has exhaust, which, of course, would be the driver's name, since he is the one in charge. And he also has the word bandit here on the front of the car and on the spoiler. Even though the bandit was more famous for driving a 1970s black Trans Am. Rest in peace, Bert. But at any rate, you also do have the hole on the top, so you can attach the missile launcher. And for comparison's sake, we will bring in Wheeljack. And you can have a look at that. Now, of course, before we close out with my final thoughts, I do want to share something that hasn't been seen since I did review the original Wheeljack. And that is, I do have a Japanese version of the original toy's instructions. And I just wanted you to see those, so that you can kind of see what the Takara instructions looked like. As you can see here, they even indicated that the launchers could shoot. As the car robots was part of the Microman line as well. There is a Microman pilot that would fit inside Wheeljack to represent a driver. Now, while that's kind of cool to show off to all of you, the big thing I wanted to show you was I had this alternate sticker placement, which was for the Marlboro version. If you take a real close look here on the front, they have Marlboro spelled as Marlboro. That way they didn't have to pay Marlboro any rights or royalties for it. But you will see there is an homage to this toy on exhaust. You can see here that the racing number on the car is 598, which is exactly the same number on the modern toy. So that's a nice touch, Hasbro. For once, somebody in your archives department is actually doing some research. So whoever found that, give them a raise. Somebody at least found that nice detail. Whereas you can see from the Wheeljack one, the original toy had 539. And for some weird reason, the Earthrise one winds up with 638. Don't know how that happened, but at any rate, that gives you all a little bit of history for the toy. Now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Exhaust? Well, Exhaust is, again, a nice bit of history for the Transformer toy line. It harkens back to an earlier time in our lives. Of course, that was also before we all really fully comprehended the dangers of cigarettes. It's said that even the character of Exhaust has a chronic cough, which is probably done as a reference to the fact that his car mode was sponsored by a cigarette company. It's nice to see that Hasbro is finding a way to incorporate some of the other versions of Takara's toy cars into the Transformer line. And why shouldn't they? They all had the chance to have been released here in America as a toy, but for some reason they were excluded. But those of us who have done the homework and the research have found that these characters could have been brought in. And it is nice to at least see them out. Exhaust here, this would probably be the second version of him released after the original Masterpiece version. And I know for many of us, those Masterpiece ones, while they're very nice to look at, many of them are also a major blow to your wallet. So if you can't afford or find a Masterpiece Exhaust and you'd like to have one in your collection, I would say go with the Earthrise one. It is a rather sturdy and solid toy. It does have some play value, if you're into that sort of thing. And probably most importantly, even if you don't buy it direct from Hasbro, it still shouldn't be too much of a blow to one's wallet. At any rate, that concludes my review of the Generation Selects Exhaust. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please drop me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to join our ranks. Make sure you ring the bell, because we've been posting videos all month, every so often, or approximately when I feel like it. I also ask that you share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. That's what helps the channel grow. And also share your thoughts about Exhaust in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.